The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the intersection of Highway 89 and Maple Street in Riverside, California, where 7-year-old Sophie Martinez pressed her face against the rear window of her mother's Honda Accord, watching the world with the pure wonder that made her kindergarten teacher describe her as exceptionally loving. "Mommy, look! Angels!" Sophie's voice rang out. But her mother didn't respond. Elena Martinez sat motionless in the driver's seat, her hands loose on the steering wheel. At 31, she looked older. The kind of exhaustion that came from working double shifts at Riverside Medical Center as a nurse's aide while raising a daughter alone after her husband's death in a construction accident 8 months prior. She had exactly $19 in her checking account and another $35 in her wallet. The prescription bottle in the cup holder was empty. Elena had taken them all. The light turned green. Sophie waved at the motorcycles beside them, 7 bikes with chrome gleaming. The riders wore leather vests, cut Sophie had learned they were called. Death Riders MC patches were clearly visible. "Hi. You look like superheroes," Sophie called through the window. Crow, the club president, a man with a gray beard and arms covered in memorial tattoos, glanced at the waving child and started to look away. Then he noticed the car wasn't moving. The light was green. Traffic was flowing. Horns blared. But the Honda sat motionless, slowly rolling forward toward the intersection. "Tank, Reaper, now." 3 bikes shot forward. Tank leaped off his bike and yanked open the driver's door, slamming his boot on the brake. The car stopped 6 feet from where a semi-truck was barreling through. "Unresponsive driver," Tank shouted. "Pulse is weak." Reaper, the road captain and former medic, caught the empty pill bottle. "Overdose." Sophie's smile faded. "Mommy sleeping?" Crow moved to the back door and crouched to Sophie's level. His face softened. "Hey, sweetheart. What's your name?" "Sophie. I'm 7 3/4. Are you a superhero?" Crow felt something crack in his chest. She looked exactly like his sister had. Lily. Dead 20 years now. Lily had Down syndrome too. "Yeah, kid, something like that. Your mom's sick. We're gonna help her, okay?" "Okay. I'm very brave." Reaper pulled Narcan from his saddlebag. He administered the spray. Elena gasped, her body jerking as the drug reversed the overdose. "Sophie. Sophie. I'm here, Mommy. The angels saved us." The ambulance arrived. Elena was conscious but crying. "Are there family members we can call?" the paramedic asked. "No one," Elena whispered. "There's no one." Sophie wrapped her arms around Crow's leg. "You saved my mommy. You're my angel now." Crow looked down at this child and saw his sister's face. Saw the moment he'd failed Lily. "Not again. CPS might get involved," Tank said. "Then we make sure they don't take the kid," Crow said. "We're handling this. If you believe in second chances, in the power of redemption, and in the angels that appear when we need them most, then pause for a moment, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bike Diaries. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today, because this story will remind you that heroes don't always wear capes, sometimes they wear leather and ride steel horses. At Riverside Medical, Elena sat in evaluation while Sophie colored in the hallway. CPS had been called. "Mrs. Martinez, were you attempting to harm yourself?" Elena's hands shook. "I just wanted the pain to stop. I wanted to sleep and not wake up to bills and my daughter asking why her daddy isn't coming home." A knock interrupted. Crow stood in the doorway. "I'm Crow. Death Riders MC. We pulled your car out of traffic." He showed a photograph. "That's my sister Lily. She had Down syndrome. She died when I was in prison. I couldn't protect her then. But I can protect Sophie now." Elena stared at him. Why would you help us? Because Sophie called us angels. And maybe it's time we lived up to that name. You don't owe us anything, Elena said. Anyone would have. No, Reaper interrupted. Most people would have looked away. Your daughter spoke up. That's not nothing. There's a diner 2 blocks over, Crow said. Rosa's place. Let us buy you and your girl lunch. Least we can do. Sophie tugged at Elena's sleeve. Can we, Mommy, please? Elena looked at these men, outlaws, people she'd been taught to fear. Okay, she heard herself say. Rosa's diner was a riverside institution. The waitress didn't blink when 7 Death Riders walked in with a nurse and a small girl. The usual, boys. Rosa called. And whatever the lady and her daughter want, Crow replied. On us. Elena ordered the cheapest items. Grilled cheese for Sophie, soup for herself. Rosa gave Elena a knowing look. 2 combo plates, extra fries, milkshakes for both. Growing girl needs food, and you look like you haven't eaten properly in a month. The truth was she'd been skipping meals to make sure Sophie had enough. The club meeting that night was heated. This woman's got nothing. No family, crushing debt. CPS is circling. What are you proposing? Tank asked. We become her support structure. We help Elena get back on her feet. We protect Sophie. We're not social workers, Reaper said. We're outlaws. We're men who just saved a kid's life, Crow shot back. Maybe we're exactly who this family needs. The vote was unanimous. The safe house was in East Riverside, a small bungalow with a fenced yard. Club owns it, Crow explained. It's yours as long as you need it. Sophie discovered the backyard with a rusty swing set. Can we stay here forever, she asked. Just for a little while, baby, Elena replied. Over the next month, Death Riders organized fundraisers. Tank fixed Elena's plumbing and repaired the swing set. Reaper found therapists. Members contributed groceries and help. Elena attended intensive treatment. The weight began to lift. But danger hadn't forgotten them. Marcus Vega, Elena's abusive ex-boyfriend, saw the news coverage. He'd been in prison. Now he was out. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. We know who you are. Elena screenshot the message and sent it to Crow. His response was immediate. Don't move. Lock the door. I'm on my way. Within minutes, motorcycles arrived. Someone tried to approach the house, Crow said. Marcus Vega sent him. He wants to eliminate that problem. What do I do? Elena whispered. We go public. Make you visible. Secrets are easy to disappear. Public witnesses are harder to touch. The interview with KRCV News happened 2 days later. Are you afraid? The reporter asked. Elena looked at Sophie, then at the camera. I'm terrified. But I taught my daughter to speak up when she sees something wrong. I can't teach her that and then hide. The segment aired that evening. Her phone buzzed. Big mistake going public. Crow documented the message. Keep them coming. Every threat is evidence. Marcus was arrested 3 days later. The threatening messages were enough for charges. Your testimony sealed it, the officer told Elena. 6 months later, Elena stood in a courtroom. Marcus had filed for custody, claiming Elena was unstable. The judge reviewed the file. Mrs. Martinez, you attempted suicide with your child in the vehicle. Why should I believe you're fit to parent? Elena stood. Because I got help, Your Honor. Because I admitted I was drowning and reached for the lifeline. Because my daughter deserves a mother who fights for her mental health. And this support structure. A motorcycle club. The men who saved our lives. The men who showed up when no one else did. Crow testified next. Mr. Dalton, you served 8 years for assault. Why should this court believe you're a positive influence? Because Sophie taught me what my sister never got the chance to. That people with Down syndrome aren't burdens. They're blessings. Sophie called us angels when the world calls us outlaws. Maybe that's who we need to be for her. The judge looked at Sophie in the gallery, wearing a Death Riders t-shirt, smiling. Mr. Vega, your record shows 3 domestic violence arrests. You've had no contact with this child. Request denied. Full custody remains with Mrs. Martinez. Sophie cheered. Mommy wins. The angels helped. Thank you for watching. If this story reminded you that redemption is real, that angels come in unexpected forms, and that the smallest hearts can save the darkest souls, please share it. Subscribe to Bike Diaries for more stories that prove heroes are everywhere. Tell us in the comments, have you ever been helped by an unexpected stranger? 1 year later, Elena stood in the backyard of what she now thought of as home. The grass was green. The flower beds she'd planted bloomed with roses and daisies. Sophie's laughter rang out as Crow pushed her on the swing. The medical bills were manageable. Crow had connected her with a lawyer who'd negotiated the debt down. She worked 1 shift instead of 2 because the club paid her for coordinating their outreach programs. Death Riders MC had transformed. Still respected, still feared when necessary, but also known as the bikers who protected a widow and her daughter, who organized the city's largest special needs fundraiser. That night, tucking Sophie into bed, Elena asked, "Are you happy, baby?" "Super happy, Mommy. I have you and Crow and all my angels. And you're not sad anymore. Your smile is real now." Elena kissed her forehead. "Yeah, baby. It is." Outside, she could hear motorcycles in the distance. That sound that used to mean danger now meant family. A year ago, Elena Martinez had wanted to die. Now she was whole. All because a 7-year-old girl with Down syndrome saw angels where others saw outlaws, and because those outlaws chose to live up to a child's innocent faith.